What's good?
Hey, we're doing a video tonight.
Oh yeah.
This video is going to be the first time we met.
Yes, our story time video.
Yes.
Really special, really special.
Yes. So, how I met my husband. I met my husband when I was 16 years old.
Yes, unfortunately, I didn't know that, but she claims that I did.
He knew.
Nah. Well, the most important part about it is that we met on MySpace.
We met on MySpace.
Yes.
Back then when MySpace was like very popular. I don't know if y'all remember or not. But MySpace is popular. Back then you get to make your own backgrounds and you have the music playing, so when people click on your page.
Yeah, y'all can see she had hers decked out, obviously, by the time I went to it. So.
When you click on people's page, you can hear all the music and stuff going.
Yeah, mine was simple. I just had I was doing my music, so I didn't want to bombard people with music when they came to it. I want them to go click it and stuff like that. So I just had our music pictures in the background and stuff like that.
So when my husband wrote me, he wrote me in my inbox, and he wrote something along the lines, if I clearly remember, he told me that he was a photographer and that he lived in Dallas and that he loved to cook and
and some more stuff, I'm sure.
He said that he thought I was beautiful. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to get to know me more.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that he was a music producer. And so I wrote him back. I told him, oh, nice to know, but I'm not interested in you.
That shut me down real quick, huh? So soon as she did that, I gave it a day. And then as soon as that day, it was like a Friday. And as soon as that Saturday came around, because this was in the summer. This was in the summertime. Right?
No. Right. When he first reached out to me, it was like January.
Okay.
Because no. I'm sorry. I'm lying.
It was like spring. Right?
It was after summer. It was getting ready to be winter. Because I was getting ready to turn 17.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so it was like when he first reached out to me, it was like in July.
The beginning.
Yeah. It was like July, but I didn't write him back until like a month later.
Mm-hmm. And so I, as soon as she said that she wrote me back, I was waiting on, pins and needles, and she turned me down. And
I did.
But she was still being nice about it. So, I mean, I'm like, how can you be nice and be mean at the same time? I never even realized it. And not the fake kind of nice, like genuinely nice, but not interested type of thing.
I wasn't interested.
And so since she didn't, I didn't get a complete no, I still was coming up with a plan. I'm a strategist at heart. So I came up with another plan on how I'm going to do that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a day. And when it came around, it was a weekend. I had plenty of time to sit on and think what I was going to respond to. So when I wrote it back, I simply just said, hey. And so by the time she finally responded, because it took some time for you to even respond to that, and you responded with another hey. I said, hey, it was something simple.
No, you said.
When I wrote back.
No.
Right?
When you wrote back, you was like, I'm just trying to get to know you more.
See, you got all the details.
He said, I just want to get to know you more. And I was like, oh, okay, nice to know, but I'm not interested in you. So we don't need to get to know each other.
But I still was persistent. I wasn't. See, that's why my memory was seeing optimism right there. I wasn't seeing I wasn't being a pessimist.
This is how he ended up being my husband, because he always pretty much chased me. Not in a bad way, but like he never gave up. And me, on the other hand, I was just like, boy, boo, bye. I am not interested in you. You are not my type. We don't have nothing in common. Nothing at all. You live in Dallas. And
I didn't understand that at the time, because from what I understood, she was in Dallas. And I didn't realize that she wasn't from Dallas.
I was getting ready to move to Dallas. So I wasn't from Dallas. He didn't know I wasn't from Dallas. Because he didn't read my description on my page.
Sure didn't.
He just saw
pictures and her posts.
And at the time, my best friend, we kind of shared page. Like, we shared a page together. And we have moved to Dallas.
Who shares pages?
We moved to Dallas. And when we moved to Dallas, I was so in love with my first supposedly love. It was puppy love, of course, but it was a guy that I was talking to, and we met online as well. And I was just like so wrapped up in him. When my husband came along, I wasn't even worried about him. I was like, boy, bye. I already got somebody.
How long ago was
I'm
this?
not interested in you.
When you met him?
Huh?
How long ago when you met him?
What you mean?
You're the other guy. Your love.
Ooh, excuse me. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember that.
Uh-huh.
I just remember
Good answer.
that I wasn't worried about him at the time. Like, he wasn't my type, and there was nothing more to talk about. So, what made me start talking to him was something happened. I'm not really for sure what happened. Oh, I was leaving Dallas. I had moved to Dallas, and I was in Dallas for a good 6 months. At the time when I moved to Dallas with my best friend, and we couldn't find a job, and we was like living paycheck to paycheck. I was getting unemployment, and we was living out of a hotel room. My best friend, originally we went to Dallas because my best friend wanted to go move in with her boyfriend. She wanted me to come with her, and when we got up there, it was just a mess. She found out her boyfriend was living with his mom, and he wasn't going to move out. He didn't have a job. He just lied. It was just all kinds of mess, y'all. And I don't know if y'all watched the first 48, but if y'all watched the first 48, and sometimes they show the first 48 in Dallas, some of them hotel rooms, some little janky hotel rooms.
Hey now.
We actually stayed in some of them, and I was like, oh my God, I'm kind of bougie. I can't be staying.
Come on now. You
I
came
can't
to
be
Dallas.
staying in nothing like this. I'm from Austin. I'm not used to this.
You came to Dallas. We don't know what you was thinking. Like, it's the gutter, it's the hood. I don't know what you was expecting. The high rises. That's what you.
I thought it was gonna be like here in Austin. It's like calm, cool, collect. In Dallas, they play no games. The girls' attitudes are bad, and I have a bad attitude, but like it really take a lot to get me to that point.
What about the men?
The men are just
the boys or whatever at that point for you.
Flashy. They're the flashy type. And that was another reason why I didn't really talk to him at first, because he was like a flasher, and I don't do that.
What's a flasher?
Like, he was showing all his little stuff that he had, his money and stuff, and his watches and stuff. I didn't care about all that. His new shoes. His, what was that shirt you had on?
Coogee.
His Coogee shirt.
We coming up on that, by the way. Oh man. Well, let's go ahead and move it along a little bit more, because we now understand why you was there in Dallas.
Right. So once after all that, like 6 months later, we had moved into an apartment after the hotel stays. We stayed in a hotel for a good 2 to 3 months. After we stayed in a hotel, we went ahead and we found an apartment, and we lived in Oak Cliff.
My hood.
Oak Cliff, they played no games in Oak Cliff, okay? My first night in my apartment, it was a shootout. I was so scared. I was ready to go back home. At the time, I was 17. I was 17, and I was just like, I'm not used to this. I want to go back to Austin.
That was regular, though. That was regular stuff.
So it was like a shootout the first night I lived in my apartment. We had a 2-bedroom apartment. We lived on the 3rd floor, and it was 2 girls. So that was even more nerve-wracking, because they knew it was 2 girls living in an apartment. So a lot of the guys was always trying to talk to us. trying to come upstairs and try to come in our apartment. Like, no, we ain't interested in y'all. But yeah, so my husband, he ends up writing me again, and I finally responded in a polite way, and I was like, I see that you don't give up, so I'll talk to you.
But what made me stand out? I mean, I know, obviously, but what made me stand out?
He never gave up. He never gave up. Like, he was always sweet to me. When he did approach me, he was never disrespectful. He was always sweet. And that's one thing that attracted me to him. Once I gave him my phone number, we started talking on the phone.
Oh boy, that was another mess.
It was on the phone all the time, like 24/7.
But I'll be straight up. I'm keeping it real. The phone situation. Like, I wasn't rich. I wasn't, nothing. I wasn't a bum neither, though. But, I didn't have all this and that. Mm-mm. And unfortunately, I wasn't staying on my own either. So, I was still at home. Mm-hmm. And I know that's a very unattractive trait for a man, a young man at my age at that time. But I was definitely persistent. Like she said, it wasn't just for her. That was how I am in my life, very persistent. I still am. Mm-hmm. I do everything I can, stay in her corner,
He does.
Fight for her. But, that's what it was. So I didn't have a phone of my own at that time. He
didn't have a phone. At the time, the phones that we had, y'all, was the boost phones, the walkie-talkie ones, where you can walkie-talk like each other. Yeah. We had those phones, and I had one, and his phone broke. So I was nice enough to pay for him a phone, and I sent it to him so that he could talk to me.
Ain't that so sweet, y'all?
Yeah.
I know it sounds sad, but that's real sweet, though. Because that showed me how much she cared to continue talking with me, despite circumstances. Because everybody has their good and bad moments. And even if it's at the beginning, some people have it in the middle and the end. But that really showed me how much I really picked the right choice of trying to continue talking to her.
Yeah, so we started talking. Mm-hmm. We started talking more, and
late nights, It
was late nights, and I remember when I turned 18 years old, I decided to go out to a concert. And here in Texas, we have people that are famous here in Texas that everybody likes to listen to. So I went to a Zero concert, and I love Zero. When I was younger, I used to love me some Zero. So it was a Zero concert, and I went, and he got upset at me because I went to this concert. And I'm like, first of all, dude, you live in Dallas. I moved back home. You 4 hours away. I'm finna go to my concert. Wait. My best friends bought me these tickets, and we going.
Wait, but you missing out the fact that it's not just some creepy dude just getting upset about it. We done already kind of exchanged words that we were kind of official.
We didn't say I love you and that
we were officially
but
boyfriend
in his
and girlfriend.
mind, we was boyfriend and girlfriend.
No.
Yes, in his mind.
We done said it,
No, we said it September 23rd that we were boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay, but you was definitely saying, I'm your woman.
No.
I'm yours.
No.
You did say some stuff like that. It was around
He
that
got mad at me because I went to a Zero concert and he couldn't go. My best friends paid for the tickets. And when he called me, one of my homeboys was talking in the background, and he thought that I was talking to another man.
Well, you kind of was at that time anyway. So.
He was like, so you talking to so-and-so, and that's it, we ain't got to talk no more, don't even worry about calling me. And I'm like, dude, first of all, you on my phone, and you stay 4 hours away. We ain't, like, I'm trying to have fun. I'm 18 years old. I ain't tied down to nobody. You ain't put no ring on this finger.
Okay.
And so, like, that night, the next day after he called me back, he apologized to me, and I apologized to him. We talked about how we were going to work on communication. But during the times that we started getting closer, it was just like something told me that he was going to be my husband. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like I already knew that he was going to be my husband.
I wanted her, and not as a trophy, but I wanted her as a friend for real. Like, I mean, a real true friend, because of how I know when we talked, she spoke about the things that she did in her life in a day and what she had been through and stuff like that. Just a couple of things, and that's how we were sharing with each other. And I really liked those aspects of her character, of who she really was. Mm-hmm. And I knew that as nice as she was to strangers, imagine how she could be as a woman, as a companion. And that really was great qualities.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, like once we started talking, everything kind of moved fast. I'm not even gonna lie. Once we said we were official in September, he came down in October.
I wasn't playing no games.
We started seeing each other like every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Greyhound.
And then we would get on the Greyhound to see each other, and nobody would know we would see each other. It was just very secretive.
I'd never been outside of Dallas.
He would come to me, or I would go to him.
Own. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so once we started talking, by October, November, we was back and forth seeing each other. By December, Christmas comes. When Christmas comes, I go down to see him. Okay. No, I go down to see him. I go down to see him, and
I'm ready to hear your version of this, by the way.
And he proposes to me. Okay. Christmas Day, I end up meeting his parents for the first time. And his sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met my mother-in-law, I knew my mother-in-law probably thought I was a hoe or something, because they picked us up from a motel.
Here we go. And I never hear the end of this.
They picked us up from a hotel, and my husband never told my mother-in-law that he had a girlfriend.
This is 3 things, by the way, in this story. This particular day, this particular weekend, or whatever holiday specifically, has 3 special things.
Before he proposed,
right now.
Before he proposed, his parents picked us up so we could go like hang out with his family.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't tell his parents that he had a girlfriend until that day. So that day, I met everybody, including his mother and his sisters. My husband has 3 sisters. And I just knew, oh my God, my mother-in-law is going to think, at the time she was my mother-in-law, but I was like, oh, his mom is going to think I'm a hoe. Like, she's picking us up from this hotel, and I don't know them, and his sisters don't know me, and they're just looking at me like, who the F is she? And my father-in-law didn't say nothing at all, so it was like a quiet ride to his aunt's house. And so we get to the aunt's house, everybody's like looking at me, and I'm like, hi. And they're like, well, who are you? And I'm like, well, I'm KO's girlfriend. And they're like, we didn't know you had a girlfriend. And KO, why you didn't tell us you had a girlfriend? And so
this is still number 1, by the way.
Yeah. So after the meeting with everybody and his parents drops us back off, I'm telling him how upset I am that he didn't tell anybody about us, and that we had been talking for a long time. Like, his parents should have known about me.
Yeah, that was almost a deal breaker right there, because that put a strain. That was our first strain on our relationship at that time.
So I'm like, your parents should have known about me. And at that moment, when I was saying all that, he gives me a box, and he's like, yeah, I want you to look through this box, and I'm giving you different things that will mean a lot to you. And I said, okay. And so in this box, he has like different stuff. Like, I think he gave me some money from Jamaica, because he said he wanted to take me to Jamaica one day. Bahamas. And then you gave me
rose petal. I mean, all these things have meaning.
Different things for different meanings. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I get an empty ring box, and I'm like, what is this supposed to be? It's like, why do I have an empty ring box? Why do I have an empty ring?
Come on, man.
Why do I have an empty ring box?
Come on, man.
So, the next morning when I woke up, he just rolled over and he was like, we're going to get married. And I'm like, okay. I didn't think nothing of it. And he's like, we're going to get married. And I'm like, oh, okay. Nice to know. And he's like, I'm for real. And I said, oh, okay, I'm for real too. Nice to know.
This is how this really went. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat. This part of the version is for word.
And he put the ring on my finger, and I looked at it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you."
She didn't understand that what I meant was business. She didn't. It didn't grasp to her. I mean, she kind of understood, but it was just like, something to do. She thought it was something to do. And
I mean,
she didn't understand 18. I was really proposing to her.
Yeah, we were 18.
I didn't do it. Granted, I admit, I didn't do it right.
He didn't.
But I didn't. I'm one of those. I'm a Libra, and so I like to have balance in my life. And so sometimes subconsciously, I'm going to do stuff spontaneously because on the other end, sometimes I think too hard on things and sit on it. So this so happened to be one of the things that was very spontaneous that I planned also too long at the same time. So.
But he proposed to me, and I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't really take him serious. And by January, I was getting ready to move to Houston because I was getting ready to go back to school. And so I was like, well, hey, why don't you come move with me to Houston? Now, number one, my in-laws are religious. My husband has a strict religious background. You are not supposed to be moving in with somebody if, number one, you're not married.
And of the same sex.
If you are not married, you do not need to be living.
of different sex, yeah.
Right. You don't need to be living with your girlfriend. And my mother-in-law was very livid when she found out we moved in with each other. Yeah, so that's strike 2 against me, y'all. So not only did she think I was a whore from a hotel, but her son moves in with me, and she really didn't know me that well. But yeah, we moved in with each other, and by the time we moved in with each other, and about a year later,
it was really good though.
Yeah, we moved in blah blah blah. We moved in with each other. We never argued. We was living a life. We got along, and we did a lot of other stuff too that we had no business doing. But anyway, we got along great, and then a year later, we said our I do. So that is pretty much our story time.
Yeah.
How we met.
Yeah.
How we got engaged.
Yeah.
And
none of this was TTC involved. None of it. This was we didn't have any the first incident that wasn't before, or was it after?
That was after we were married.
Okay.
So pregnancies didn't come along until after we were married.
Everything was like kind of, I hate to say it, but normal. That was the word to use.
Yeah, and it just seemed like back then we were just like so in love with each other.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're in love with each other now.
But it was puppy love for real.
Back then, it was just like we could tell the difference from back then till now.
All my flaws and wrongdoings.
Oh my gosh!
She kind of got upset about them, but it was like easily dismissed.
When we first got married, that was a story within itself.
Yeah.
We really went. We just got up. We went to the courthouse on a Tuesday. It was May 25th. I worked a double after. I worked a double shift before we got married.
Yep.
So the day before I did a double, I didn't get home until like midnight. My sister-in-law did my hair. I didn't go to sleep until like 4 o'clock in the morning. We were supposed to get married at 9 the next morning. So I went to bed at 4 a.m. I didn't get really any sleep. I had to get up and didn't put no makeup on, no nothing. We just went to the courthouse. I had this dress on from Ross. My husband had on a dress shirt. His parents was there. They signed our marriage license. My grandmother signed our marriage license. And
it went by fast, but it felt like time was not moving at all when we were standing in front of each other in that courtroom.
I did have second thoughts. I thought I wasn't going to do it, but I ended up doing it. After we got married, it started raining, and I started crying because I was like, oh my God, this mean we're not going to last? Why is it raining?
I was like, that's not even what that means. That's God replenishing the earth and providing it, moisture so that it doesn't dry out.
So yeah, we after we got married, we ended up going to Golden Corral, which is horrible. We went there to eat, and then I went home, y'all, and we both fell asleep. We were knocked out. We was tired. Went to sleep, and then I had to get up to go back to work to do another double. So that was how we got married, and now here we are. Next month on the 25th will be 7 years together.
Man, and I am so excited. There's a real reason why, because not once in that story during story time did you hear about a honeymoon or anything like that. We actually haven't had one yet.
We haven't had a honeymoon.
No.
And we've been through a lot. We have other videos to kind of let y'all know how marriage have been leading up to the 7th year. We're going to be very honest about it. And we know that some people may judge us about things. But this is our testimony, and other people will be able to learn from it. So
yeah, we're going to discuss in-depth story time. Maybe we might do something about 7 episodes where we talk about each year in each of those episodes. So it's going to be something good, some powerful stuff in there. Plot twists, major plot twists, growth, major growth, and see how strong we are today.
So thank y'all for listening to our story time.
We appreciate y'all as always. Much respect.
We love y'all. Bye.
All right.